Hi everyone, this is Dr. Jiaxin Shen from Shantou University Medical College. I'm a doctor from Department of Hematology. This time, I would like to discuss with you the wonderful new world of blood, in which we will focus on the composition and functions of blood, the life-sustaining fluids that serves as a transport vehicle for the organs. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to describe the composition and functions of whole blood, go into detail about the components of blood, like plasma and foam elements. Specifically, we will discuss stages in clot formation, as well as special considerations during blood transfusion. Some diseases will be included as well, aiming to give you a better understanding of how these different blood components come together to function. In the first session, we will look closely at the nature of whole blood. Your learning objectives are to state the relationship between whole blood and blood plasma, and to discuss the important functions of blood. Blood is something that we all need, and sometimes because of injury or a disease, we need extra blood. This is the river of life that surges within us, transporting nearly everything that must be carried from one place to another. Imagine you need a blood test. You see your blood collected in a tube and may wonder, what will they do with this? Let me tell you. Once your blood sample makes it to the lab, technicians put it in a centrifuge which spins the sample fast enough so that the heavier component, the foam element, go to the bottom of the tube, and the less dense components, mostly the plasma, stays at the top. Look at the centrifuge sample. 3 distinct layers are visible. Most of the reddish mass at the bottom of the tube is erythrocytes, which, as you all know, carry oxygen and carbon dioxide. The percentage of red cells in the whole blood is known as the hematocrit, with a normal range between 38 to 48%. A decrease or increased hematocrit may indicate disorders in the red blood cells. Then a thin whitish layer is found in the middle. This layer contains leukocytes, the white blood cells that act as your warriors to defend your body against toxins and foreign microbes. And there are also cell fragments called platelets or thrombocytes, which help with blood clotting. Leukocytes and platelets constitute less than 1% of your blood volume. Finally, up at the top, you will see the yellowish plasma, which accounts for the remaining 55% of your whole blood. Whole blood is a red, opaque fluid and is kind of sticky, salty, and has a metallic taste. Depending on the amount of oxygen it's carrying, the color of blood varies from scarlet, oxygen-rich, to dark red, oxygen poor. It's about 5 times more viscous than water, largely because of its foam elements. And it's slightly alkaline, with a pH between 7.35 and 7.45. The average blood volume in a healthy adult male is 5 to 6 liters, somewhat greater than a healthy adult female, 4 to 5 liters. Of course, one of blood's main missions is to transport oxygen, nutrients, waste products, and hormones around the body. But it also helps to regulate and maintain body temperature, pH level, and circulatory volume in your body. Plus, it protects you from infection and from excessive blood loss. You might remember from histology that blood is a type of connective tissue, which means it's made of living cells suspending in a non-living matrix, which, in this case, is the fluid ground substance, plasma. Plasma is 90% water, but the other 10% is full of different solutes, including proteins, electrolytes, gases, hormones, and waste products. The most abundant of these solutes are electrolytes. but they are just positively charged cations like calcium, sodium, and potassium, and negatively charged anions like phosphate, sulfate, and bicarbonate. Together, these ions help to balance your blood chemistry, maintaining its pH level and osmotic pressure. But when measured by weight, the bulk of solutes in your blood are really the plasma proteins. Most of these proteins, like albumin and alpha and beta globulins, are made by the liver and do things like balance the osmotic pressure between the blood and surrounding tissues, and transport lipids and ions. Others provide defense for you, like the gamma globulin antibodies that are released by plasma cells during an immune response. Lastly, fibrinogen and other related proteins which are vital to transforming blood clots and achieving hemostasis. The osmotic pressure we mention here is the tendency of water to move into the blood cell by osmosis. Now, before we close our first session on blood, you may now have a different perspective of a blood test. You also know your blood is made up of foam elements and plasma. It functions in distributing substances, regulating homeostasis, and protecting us from excessive bleeding and infection. Next, we will begin to look closely at these life-sustaining fluids in your body. We will discuss the 3 foam elements in the blood and some of the related disease. Thank you, and see you next time.